the situation right now?
The situation is that two airplanes have attacked apparently.
He had made this colossal mistake of locating the command center in the only complex that had already been attacked by Islamic fundamentalists and that they vowed to return to.
The command center was built, but it was built in the wrong place, within the World Trade Center complex, the very place that had been attacked in 1993.
Why was he running that day and running around? Because he didn't have a command post, because he put it in the wrong place.
He had, put his bunker right in the most dangerous spot in the city for terrorists.
It was located there solely and completely because of Rudy Giuliani.
You put the Emergency Response Command Center in the World Trade Center in 1997, even though your director of emergency management recommended that you not put it there because it had been a target in 1993. Why'd you do that?
My director of emergency management recommended 7 World Trade Center.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Because we had already had a bombing in Lower Manhattan, and because I felt that Lower Manhattan would remain a target, that the best location would be out in Brooklyn.
I have got a copy right here of Jerry Hauer's directive to you, and there were meetings in which Jerry Hauer said that it's a bad idea, and the police chief, Howard Safer, said it was a bad idea?
Jerry Hauer recommended that.
He gets caught by Chris Wallace lying.
Then why did he say the building, he said it's not, the place in Brooklyn is not as visible a target as buildings in Lower Manhattan.
He recommended that site as the site that would be the best site. It was largely on his recommendation that site was selected.
It's just a flat-out lie. All the other options were taken away, and we kept being pushed back towards 7 World Trade Center. It was very clear the mayor was not going to go anywhere else but Lower Manhattan.
And we also had backup centers at the police department in Brooklyn. We had another backup center, and we had a virtual command center.
He has no idea what he's talking about. There was no virtual command center. We did not have a virtual capability outside of 7 World Trade Center. Again, he pulls words and ideas out of the air, but they're simply not true. The mayor told me that he'd like it in Lower Manhattan, within walking distance.
It was simply a situation of that facility being within walking distance of City Hall.
He felt that it'd be easier to get the press someplace near City Hall.
As a professor of fire science and related issues, emergency response and things, walking distance should never have anything to do with where you place an emergency operations center.
The city agreed to rent the vacant 23rd floor of World Trade Center 7 from Larry Silverstein, the leaseholder of the building, for $1.4 million a year for 20 years.
These politically wired people in the Giuliani administration came up with the World Trade Center floor as the ideal floor for this location.
There was a lot of opposition to it. I mean, certainly within the rank and file people involved in emergency management and those kind of issues and things.
I, at that point, didn't know of Rudy's relationship with the owner of that building.
To return the favor, Silverstein held a $100,000 fundraiser for Rudy on his yacht a month after the command center opened.
If you were not with him 100% and didn't support him 100%, they would basically cut your throat.
It cost the lives of first responders that day because the command center was located at the World Trade Center.
There were 60 firefighters killed in the Marriott. There was 121 killed in the North Tower, and the rest were killed in the South Tower. What would have been different had that command center been operational? The death toll for firefighters would probably have been cut in half. A lot of guys wouldn't have been going into the buildings or heading up the stairs, they would have been heading out. And probably guys in the North Tower would have gotten that message.
Making sure, for example, that if fire companies or groups of police officers are being brought into the scene, that they end up at the right locations. You know, we know, for example, that on 9/11, a lot of companies, it was very confusing to them because a lot of them had never been there before in the sense of responding to that complex, didn't actually know the numbering system of the buildings and things like that. And that's a situation where that Emergency Operations Center could play a much better role and be able to coordinate that kind of stuff.
Giuliani should have been like someplace roaring, screaming to people to get out, run, you know, run. But he ran himself.
He abandoned ship. He was a coward that day. The real hero stayed to help people out and protect them.
Running on the street because he wasn't in the command center, that running played out in the media as being this on the street tough guy.
Television played a really critical role for Mayor Giuliani on 9/11. We certainly saw him at the disaster scene as soon as the buildings began to collapse, moving away from that area.
When you objectively look at the before, during, and after, there's really not much you can find that Rudy did right except for a very good television appearance.
I really don't know what he did that was so good. I know what my brother did. I know what the police officers did and what some of the really brave civilians did, but I certainly don't know what he did beyond looking really good on television.